furry pony. Welcome back to Pony Talk. Well, as I said before, I'm going to look at the Equestria Girls movies. All three of them. Well, normally this is where I would jump through the mirror and go into the Equestria Girls world as a human, but since so many other Brony reviewers have done this, they've kept that thing under lock and key. What? No. Don't you dare. No! Crap. Why? How? Well, I guess I am an equestrian girl now, so it kinda works. But my voice is still the same. No, this is weird. Well, you know what they say, show must go on and all that. So, let's get to talking about these movies. Now, I'm going to try not to just summarize these movies. I'm going to talk about the points I liked, some things I didn't like, and maybe defend some things that other people haven't liked. And I'll do my best not to talk too much about Sunset Shimmer, since I've already done that in a couple other videos, and will probably do so again in future videos. That said, let's talk about Sunset Shimmer! Sorry, but for the first movie, she is quite literally the driving force. She is what sets these events into motion. And her infiltration of the Crystal Palace is a really good scene. I kind of put it on par with the infiltration of the Terrordrome from G.I. Joe the movie. Which makes it kind of a shame that it's a little ruined by the plethora of questions it opens. Like, how did she know the mirror would be in the Crystal Palace? How did she know Twilight would be there? How did she know what Twilight's crown looked like? How did she know about the Elements Harmony? Why didn't she think there would be more guards around there? How did she know exactly where to go? Why did she think this would happen in the middle of the night? Why does a robot need codpiece?
I have so many questions!
So, yeah, the beginning, while it's beautifully animated and storyboarded, probably not the strongest part of it. But you know what it is? Twilight's reaction to her human self. I still love that scream. And also this. But then we get to the heart of the matter, the high school setting. Is this a good setting? Well, kind of. It is very odd to see and think about the ponies we know and love as humans in high school. That is, well, for lack of a better term, very fanficky. But high school is a very important part of everyone's life, so that's why there are so many movies, shows, and cartoons set in high school. So I'm not opposed to them taking this on. And it is interesting seeing the differences between CHS and Equestria, especially the way Twilight meets the human versions of her friends. Especially her introduction to human Fluttershy being a parallel to how she met Pony Fluttershy in the very first episode. That was a nice little treat. Which, of course, led to her first encounter with human Sunset Shimmer. And by the way, girls, nice fighting posture. Arms down, face presented. Good thing you're both mirroring each other. And boy, was Sunset just in full-on, well, bitch mode in this movie. Just fitting that stereotype to a T. Even had her own lackeys, Snips and Snails. So I guess that's just their place in the universe, the dumb lackeys. I'd call them the series Bulk and Skull, but I'm pretty sure Bulk and Skull had more dignity than them. At least they had more character development. But with that out of the way, we get to meet one of my favorite characters, Principal Celestia. And, funny story, my friend sitting next to me had the exact same reaction Twilight did at hearing that phrase. And unlike a certain hippogriff, I do like Principal Celestia. That's right, Mother Bucker, I haven't forgotten about you. Thing just became Mary, I forgot about you. I could go on and on about her, and I will, in a future video. For now, I'll say I really did love her introduction scene, because she gets some of the best lines in the whole franchise. Like this.
Well, if you do need anything else, my door is always open.
Still love that scene. And that scene did also address one of the concerns I've seen people have of why didn't Twilight just take the crown at night when she's in school. Well, as Principal Celestia said, Vice Principal Luna locked it up somewhere. And Twilight's not the kind of pony or person to just go around tearing things up to find it. So, of course, she's going to try to win it fair and square, which sets her on the path to meet the human versions of her pony friends, and proves once and for all that no matter what reality she's in, Pinkie Pie will always make physics her bitch.
Hi, my name's Twilight Sparkle,
And yes, I'm cursing a little in this video. It happens. And speaking of her friends, after spending the night in the gigantic library, okay, seriously, I have to point this out. That library is bigger than my town's library. Yeah, my headcanon for that thing is that was the town's library, and they had to build the high school around it just to keep it running. Also, her research in the library did lead to one of my favorite scenes.
So I just push the letters here, and then the words and moving pictures will come up here?
That's right.
That look. That's the look of someone who's been doing this far too long. And another good way to show the differences between the human world and the pony world. Because human Cherry Lee is not really enjoying being a teacher that much. Anyway, we get to find out that the Humane Five did used to be friends back when they were freshmen, and now they're not anymore. And this leads to one of the biggest problems people have had with the first movie, the revelation of why they're not friends anymore. Basically, it all comes down to Sunset Shimmer manipulating them and very poor communication in all their parts. Some people are saying that it's just a really bad scene, it's bad writing, and bad characterization. But we have to remember, in the very first two episodes of the series, none of the pony versions were really friends either. I'm sure they knew of each other, but they weren't friends till Twilight brought them together. And we can't really be sure how long they'd been friends before Sunset ripped them apart. They met as freshmen, and depending on how long Sunset has been there, she could have pulled all her shenanigans before they really made strong bonds. Plus, well, okay, I'm gonna get some flack for this, but it has to be said. Teenage girls are some of the most irrational beings on the planet. I've seen this firsthand. Some are cool with each other, they're besties all their lives, and then something happens and they hate each other. But then a week later, they're besties again. I don't get it, but it does happen. So, being that these versions of our main heroines are teenage girls, yeah, I can buy this. It's not the strongest argument, but again, irrational teenagers. But when they are back together, it's a really good treat, and of course leads to, quite honestly, the highlight of the movie, where they all work together to try to get Twilight voted as Fall Formal Princess with an awesome song in the cafeteria. And I know I'm not the only one who thought they were going to do Queen's We Will Rock You at first. I mean, listen to this beat. I mean, that opening has to be intentional, right? It's not just me who thinks that, is it? Then, of course, there's the low part of the movie where Sunset has Snips and Snails frame Twilight with the brilliant move of cutting and pasting pictures together. Literally. And honestly, how does Luna just not feel that these are two pictures put together? Maybe they photocopied them, but still, this scene exists mostly to give Flash Sentry something to do. Oh, right. Flash Sentry. Yeah, he's also in this movie. It's where he's introduced. And as I said before, I have nothing against the guy, but I'm not really a fan because he's just kind of there. Which really makes the visceral hate for him just confusing to me. I mean, there's nothing really to hate. He just exists. And then after a quick fixing things up montage where the school comes to help get everything ready for the dance again. And by the way, when do these kids go to class? They need to go to class. Following that is another montage where we see dresses to remind us that these dolls are on sale for $19.99. And also leads to Twilight revealing her true nature to her new friends, which leads to this scene.
You see, you're from an alternate world and you're a pony princess there, and the crown actually has a magical element embedded in it that helps power up other magical elements, and without it, they don't work anymore, and you need them to help protect your magical world. And if you don't get the crown tonight, you'll be stuck in this world, and you won't be able to get back for like a really, really long time.
For anyone else, I would call that a major cop-out. But for Pinkie, it just makes so much sense. Plus, I love the expressions on the other girl's face. And with that out of the way, we finally get to the dance, where then this happens. Man, that door takes a lot of abuse though, doesn't it? Yeah, of course, Twilight wins the princess crown, as we knew she would. But after dog napping from Simpson Snails, we run to Sunset Shimmer, who apparently has taken a page out of Triple H's playbook.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game.
And which people have pointed out that what was that sledgehammer really gonna do if she hit the portal? But I'm gonna go with Brony Notion's idea that she was gonna hit the structure around the portal and collapse into it, thus closing it off. And after a quick game of keep away, we get what for me was the most surprising thing in this movie: Demon Sunset Shimmer! Yeah, I did not expect it to go like this, and they went full-on demonic design with her there, and I loved it! But her plan was dumb. She's going to try to take over Equestria with an army of brainwashed teenagers. How? How did she think that was going to work? I guess this does show why she's a Celestia dropout. Although, I do kind of subscribe to the theory that maybe it was the crown itself that was driving her crazy and suddenly made her power mad. Because really, beyond that, she seemed relatively happy just ruling the school. But still, I have another theory on this that, again, will be in another video. Thankfully, the one after this one. Also, I should point out, whenever she went to throw her fireball at Twilight, in the theatrical release, she said Twilight has to die. In the DVD release and TV release, she now says she has to be dealt with. I guess die was just too extreme for little kids. But of course, as always in this show, the magic of friendship saves her, and we get a magical girl transformation, then the rainbow of light again, and all is good. Including Sunset Shimmer now, which, yeah, that was a huge debate between movies, wasn't it? Was she really good? Was she playing off people? I always thought she actually had a reformation there. It's just the voice work, the animation, the music, all of it came together beautifully to convince me that, yes, she realized her mistake. But we'd have to wait for the next movie to find out if she actually did reform. For now, though, that was the first Equestria Girls movie. And yeah, I realize I kind of ended up summing things up like I didn't want to do, but really, there's not much else to talk about. I've heard people not liking it because it's a standard high school story, and they're right. This is pretty much the pony version of Mean Girls. But it's done with the characters we know and love, and for me, that made it enjoyable. And there are a lot of really good, funny moments that still make me laugh when I go back and rewatch it. So I am very glad they made it. Especially with what came next.
A friend for life, that's what you are to me. A friend for life, that's what you are.